If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. This isn't any new news, but it might be for you. This has obviously been something that they've been talking about for a few years, but I never got a chance to cover it, and it's been on a list of things to do because I wanted this video to be on my channel about the elevator that they're building to go into space. That's right. I guess they're not worried about hitting something up there when they get high enough, but they have been working on an elevator to go into space, and I wanted to cover it because this is biblical. This has to do with the Tower of Babel being recreated. And there's a lot of interesting things around it, especially what they're going to use to build it. You know that miracle thing that they have called graph something? Huh. Yeah, they're going to build a space elevator with it. Isn't that a surprise? I mean, maybe they could just connect human... Oh, right, I can't say that. But joking aside, this has to do with the Tower of Babel in Genesis chapter 11, verses 1 through 9. Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As people moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar. Tar, of course, resembles something a lot very similar to graphene.
The main problem with space travel is cost. To put you in orbit around the planet Earth costs about $10,000 a pound. Once you're outside the first 100 miles, you coast. You coast all the way out to Pluto. So if the first 100 miles is the only problem, why not have a space elevator where you simply hit the up button and you ascend up a cable into outer space? For a century, we thought that this idea of the space elevator was ridiculous. Now we have a new game changer. Carbon nanotubes, and graphene. Graphene is one layer of carbon. It conducts electricity. It is the strongest substance known to science. And it will suspend a space elevator without breaking. Now, to be fair, the world's record for pure carbon nanotubes and graphene is only about that long. So we have a long ways to go. But it's a practical problem now. Theoretically, the main challenges have actually been negotiated. Why not dangle the cable down from the International Space Station and then anchor it perhaps to a barge in the ocean, which is a little bit flexible, giving it a certain amount of flexibility so it's not so rigid. It can open up the universe for the average person.
So, in the Bible, again, in Genesis chapter 11, verses 1 through 9, in verse 4, it says, "Then they said, 'Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth.'" Right? And that is what they are essentially trying to do here. I know a lot of people have seen, some of the new buildings that they're coming out with architecturally. We have the Amazon building, these buildings that are like spirals that look like what we envision the Tower of Babel to look like. But they actually literally are planning on reaching space, which of course we know that they can't get past a certain spot, but they're planning on reaching space with this tower, or this elevator, I should call it, that will bring people up there. And of course will be made of this tar, which will be known as graphene. So in the Bible, when it talks about the Tower of Babel, and these people were so egotistical and sick and demented in the head, like they had nothing better to do, that they decided, hey, let's build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches into heaven. I mean, really? You got nothing better to do? You can't go fishing? Can't spend some time with your wife and your kids? You got to build a tower to go to heaven because what? You have to make a name for yourselves? Otherwise, you'll be scattered over the face of the earth. And what ends up happening, of course, is God does do that. In Genesis chapter 11, verse 5, it begins with, "But the Lord came down to see their city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other." So that's one of the reasons, if you're new to all this stuff, or if you haven't really thought much about it, why there's so many different languages, right? Because God scattered people amongst different nations to speak different language. And one of the reasons they want not just a new world order, but I always call it the one world order, is to have everything one. There'll be one language, one religion, which of course will be worshiping Lucifer, one currency, everything, and has everything to do with the Tower of Babel. So you see what they're trying to do with the old graphene, and they're saying if humanity's ever to settle on new planets, we will need radically new technologies. This much is obvious, but we already have the perfect material to step up and fill the role. Graphene. It is really transported, easily manipulated, and an abundance of carbon in the galaxy. It could bode well for graphene, which is a carbon-based material. Its strength and versatility could well become a crucial component in colonization. And yes, this is your tax money at work, ladies and gentlemen, because it's so necessary. I love to, even if it was possible to go into space and do these things, what is the reasoning for it? We have people starving in certain countries. And I don't want to hear well, they can go and get a job. If you don't know people's circumstances and what happens to lead somebody to be homeless or not to be able to feed themselves, it's just sick of hearing egotistical people that are like, well, tell them to get up and go get a job. You don't know what they've been through. And I'll tell you one thing for a fact. A lot of people you see homeless on the street corners, and you see them talking to themselves and acting strange. People are just like, oh man, that guy's got problems. You know that they've been through experiments that the government has put on them and that it put them back out in society? That's what's happened to a lot of those people. Experiments with LSD, experiments with MK Ultra experiments. So anyway, we have all these people in the world. We hear these the Gateses of the world talking about curing world hunger. And, they care so much about everyone. But we need a space elevator. And that has nothing to do with what they were trying to do with the Tower of Babel. Nothing to do with it at all, because it's just so necessary right now with everything going on that we build a giant elevator into the sky. I mean, really, I'll tell you where they could stick their elevator, but they probably would like it. So they said the strength and versatility could well become a crucial component in colonization, like I said. For instance, spacecraft filled with advanced massive 3D printers, which is another thing I've been talking a lot about, the 3D printing, could ferry intrepid settlers to new corners of the galaxy, supply a near endless supply of material and equipment, perhaps even being used to construct homes that can withstand the conditions of other worlds. And graphene, as we know, is going to be used for everything. In fact, I wouldn't be sure. Well, I can't say it. I'm not saying it. I'm not testing the algo right now after what happened last week. But graphene's discovery in 2004, which is bullcrap because it's been around since before 2004, has sparked the flame of endless possibility. They let you know in 2004 that this thing existed because they were going to start using it in everything. And, well, people would have figured it out. But they've been experimenting it for a very long time. And as we know with technology, they don't release it to us when they find out about it. They release it to us when they master it and they have big plans for it. And then they say, here it is, right? Here it is. So in 2004, when they quote unquote found graphene, it sparked the flame of endless possibility within the science and technology communities due to its astounding properties. Only a single atomic layer thick, blah, blah. I just wanted to read up to this point. The honeycomb-like formation. It's just so funny with the hive mind and the honeycomb, right? And we're seeing the symbol of this all over the place. The Olympics, right? We saw it at the Super Bowl halftime show, which I covered. I mean, it's all over the place. This is how witchcraft works. They're telling you what they're doing. They're showing you what they're doing right in front of our faces. And people are like, no, this is a scientific discovery. This is exciting news. Why? Because you watch Star Wars and you want to get up there and see Uranus and go, oh, I'm up in the sky. Yeah, you don't think you're going to implode up? I mean, just the insanity of the stuff is really ridiculous. If we actually had a world that cared about each other and wanted to take care of each other, it's the human race, and feed one another and live peacefully, then garbage like this wouldn't be where your tax money was going. But it is. And their obsession with graphene goes back a long ways. And the black tar mentioned in the Bible, you don't think that there's correlation there between how long graphene's been here? It's not like it just flew out of nowhere and was a part of society. A lot of people have done videos and studies talking about how they've had graphene since God created man, that they were developing it in Egypt and using it. And people, some people don't believe that because they just believe what they're told in 2004. But I mean, those are interesting videos. If you haven't seen them, you can check out, look them up for yourself. But they've been experimenting with this for a long period of time. And obviously this is just more of the same nonsensical bullcrap, egotistical, narcissistic behavior that these elites have, where they need to build an elevator to the sky because it's nothing to do with, we can go up there, then we can look down at the earth or whatever they think that we're going to colonize. Where are you going to put a colony? In the air? I mean, what? They're like, we're going to, colonization. Oh, so you're going to build it from here to Mars? I thought that was like 10 trillion miles away, you claim. What are you going to do? Just get up in the elevator in the sky and then just start building things floating? I mean, what? Huh? Exactly. This is about them defying God, mocking God, and trying to say, hey, humans, we're smarter than God. We can defy God. We can do, it's endless. And this is what the Masons teach and all the secret societies teach and believe, that they are their own gods. So that's them just trying to play God. But I don't know what's going to happen when their head hits the wall up there, but have fun. Anyway, I just wanted to point out, I wanted to do a video on this for quite some time. It's just more of the same nonsense with their favorite thing in the world, the black goo. So I hope you found this video informative. Reminder, check out the website at callforuprising.com. It's $2.99 a month. Check it out if you haven't. I want to thank the Patrons and thank all of you again for being here. Appreciate you all greatly. God bless you and your families.